Welcome to today's conversation. The Bitcoin ETF decision, likely within the next 72 hours. The market is in a high anticipation mode. Almost feels a bit kind of almost like a coming hangover, right? Where we have this huge anticipation that's been rushing up. We are on the eve of potentially the approval happening. And of course, a lot of people are starting to speculate we're going to see a local market top forming up in the near future. The Bitcoin ETF approval will be the last leg up to where we get the first week of inflows, maybe, and then we start seeing prices correct. I want to discuss those theories with you in this video. Also, some altcoin news. Of course, we got altcoin news. Got to talk about the altcoins, man. So many things going on. Of course, altcoins seeing a bit of a bloodbath. Man, not bloodbath, but definitely taking some punches to the face at the moment. We'll dive into that as well. Welcome, of course, everybody joining today on the live stream, either here on YouTube or X, or if you listen to this later on YouTube and Spotify, or the Spotify and Apple podcast. There you go. Guys, let's get into it. Of course, save those questions to the second half of the conversation, because I'll be answering all your questions then in our Q&A session in the second half of the video. So stick around for the good bits. So Bitcoin, man. Bitcoin, nothing is happening right now. We're not going to talk about the charts very long, except for the fact that nothing is happening at the moment for Bitcoin. The market is in a very serious state of indecision when it comes to Bitcoin in particular. Now, altcoins, different story. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. But right now, Bitcoin, not too much happening. Everybody's kind of in this mode of extreme anticipation. The Bitcoin ETF's coming. Is it? Probably. What's going to happen then? Is it going to be a sell the news event? What could happen? And of course, we are on the eve of that potential reality. I like this thought here. Real quick to share from Eon, by the way, SEC be dumb to reject it. Hong Kong will accept Bitcoin ETFs soon, and the market there will boom. It'll be a big catalyst for Asia. I agree. Game theory starting to come in for the Bitcoin ETF, guys, where we are seeing the very strong reality that if the U.S. doesn't move on this soon, all of those U.S. financial institutions will be on the back foot. And yeah, whenever they do it, it's still going to be a big deal, but they want to be early and capture as much market share as they can. And they're not super early. They could have done this a few years ago, but now is the time. Now is the moment. Now BlackRock is here, and BlackRock's going to get what they want. Now, whether that happens in the next 3 days, very, very high likelihood, but the SEC could still protect all of us investors and rug us at the last second, essentially sending prices plummeting, because that's how the SEC protects you from getting rich. Watcher Guru saying BlackRock expects spot Bitcoin ETF to be approved on Wednesday. That is according to sources over at Fox Business. Do we believe them? Maybe. I feel like everything's lined up right now for the Bitcoin ETF, and we'll discuss the potential price corrections here momentarily, as well as price projections for how crazy things could get long-term from this ETF reality. But all the ducks are lined up right now. It's really gotten to the point where basically the SEC has told all these different companies, file your amendments by this time. And then they turned back to them and said, we don't have anything else to add to your amendments. Your applications all look fine, which is like crazy to hear from the SEC. The SEC has been having last minute meetings with all of the Bitcoin ETF providers, which why would they do that if they weren't planning on approving? The SEC has been having last minute meetings with, most importantly, the exchanges like the NASDAQ. Why would the SEC be sitting down with the NASDAQ talking about what are you guys going to do when the Bitcoin ETF starts trading if they weren't planning on approving it? Again, maybe there's that last minute rug, but I doubt it. Most likely we're getting the approval this week from all indicators that we are seeing right now. Never discount chaos. Chaos is always a non-zero probability. But likely we're going to see that approval finally coming through, which is pretty damn exciting. Of course, we'll be updating throughout the week as that happens. Bravo Numeric says, where's all this uncertainty coming from? Your last video was super bullish. I'm going to get into that. Bravo Numeric. I would like to say I am not bearish. I want to make that clear. I know the title of this video is minus 40% still possible. I want to talk about the theories of the sell the news, right? Because it's important for you guys to have this knowledge in your hands that we could see a price correction after the initial hype. And the initial hype is probably going to be pretty big. Remember, we have BlackRock that is basically looking at a situation where they are rumored to have $2 billion lined up for week one. Now, that, of course, can push the price up like 20%, 30%. Just the hype of that happening can have a big move here for Bitcoin. How much the other guys bring. But then, you see, that's week one. What happens in week two? Do they have another $2 billion lined up for the second week? Maybe not. Do they have $1 billion lined up for week two? Remains to be seen. Do they have $500 million ready for week two? We'll find out. And that's where expectation drives 100 miles an hour into the brick wall of reality, potentially. I want to discuss some of those theories here with you because it's important. It's important to keep these things in mind when looking at what could happen in markets. And look, very, very clear here for you. No one knows exactly what's going to happen around the Bitcoin ETF approval, listing, any of that. I would say expect volatility in both directions. And I would say that long term, I don't know what happens in the next few days. I don't know what happens in the next couple of weeks. We're going to discuss some theories on that, sure. But long term, I'm talking a few months from now, over the next couple of years, this is a mega bullish event for the cryptocurrency markets. So you need to understand that. You need to understand that's a huge event. And while some people are saying, look, it's buy the rumor, buy the news, it's just so fundamentally bullish. And I'm kind of in the fundamentally bullish camp. But I understand markets can be pretty irrational and crazy sometimes. And you can get this mega, mega bullish event to happen and still have prices correct afterwards, after our big hoorah hype. The final hour of the party, so to speak, before we get on to the next narrative. See a correction, go on to the next narrative. Now it's going to be Ethereum spot ETFs. Then it's going to be the Bitcoin halving. Then it's going to be some other crazy news later this year. All these things start adding up. But none of it happens overnight. Okay, so let's start off with Arthur Hayes. Now, Arthur Hayes, CEO of BitMEX, co-founder of BitMEX. He posted this the other day. He says, I expect Bitcoin to experience a 20 to 30% correction from whatever level it has attained by early March. The washout could be even more severe if the slate of US listed spot Bitcoin ETFs has already commenced trading. Imagine if the anticipation of hundreds of billions of fiat flowing into these ETFs at a future date propels Bitcoin to above $60,000 and close to its 2021 all-time high of $70,000. I could easily see a 30 to 40% correction due to a dollar liquidity rug pull. This is why I cannot buy Bitcoin until these March decision dates have passed. I think I'm a decent trader when I'm focused. I will attempt to top tick the market in late February and then buy a sizable put position. I will buy puts expiring on June 28th. I don't want the March 29th expiry because I'm entering the position in early March. He goes on about the details about his position, but it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, so let's look, what would that look like? What would that actually look like if that were to happen? If we saw the prices soar up to around the previous highs, that's a big move from where we are currently. We are talking about a move of almost 60%, which would line up with about $5 to $6 billion coming into the markets. Okay. So there's an interesting thought. Now, what happens when that corrects 30 to 40% down? Well, 40% down brings us right back, interestingly, to around where the 50-day EMA is going to likely be at the time, which is around $40,000. Curious. Now, what if we don't go quite as high and we still get a 40% correction? Let's say we just get up to 60K. We get a massive rally. And you got to keep in mind, for Bitcoin, a 40% rally is massive. It's massive, okay? So let's look at that scenario. 40% brings us back down to the 200-day exponential moving average, approximately. Does this play out? I don't know, but it's certainly an interesting theory, and it's definitely good food for thought, because if we do get great inflows in the first week, but then weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we don't get huge interest from everybody, expect a bit of a slowdown, a bit of a disillusionment perhaps with the Bitcoin ETF, like we saw with the gold ETF back in 2004, where we had big run up into the approval, price correction for a few months before, of course, then launching 400% higher as reality caught up with what that actually meant for the markets. So it's interesting. Let me know, of course, in the comment section if you think we are going to get a sizable correction after the ETF. Let me know. Andrew Kang saying, believe we're at an inflection point in the market where many alts are looking like blow off tops until they correct via time or price. This is a BTC dominance phase. Of course, all eyes on the Bitcoin ETF. And we'll talk about altcoins again in a few minutes here. So keep that in mind. We'll be talking about altcoins soon and the corrections going on in the altcoin market soon. But this is basically what's happening right now. Everybody's paying attention to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is sucking the air out of the room, basically suffocating a lot of these altcoin markets, which have been going so crazy for such a long time. And look, you have to make something absolutely clear here. Nothing goes up in a straight line forever. Some things have gone really crazy recently. Some of these altcoins have gone like on wild rallies. Look at Solana. It went from what, $10 to $120 in like 3 or 4 months. That's crazy, man. That's a crazy rally. Meme coins, of course, were absolutely popping off about a week or two ago. So you have to keep these things in mind. When you start seeing these kind of things happening in the market, you have to go, is the market temporarily overheated? Because there will be no straight line up to the peaks of this bull run, wherever those end up being. There's going to be lots of huge rallies, massive amounts of euphoria, followed by 30, 40, 50% drops for altcoins, 20 to 30% drops for Bitcoin, huge panic on your timeline as everybody thinks that's it. This is the end. We're going to zero again. But this is all normal stuff, totally normal stuff in a cryptocurrency bull market cycle. So that's worth keeping in mind, okay? I want to share this one with you from Josh Rager. He said some good chats about potential pullback soon, reposting his prediction from over a month ago. Local high by mid-January, followed by a pullback to the mid to low 30Ks, which would be interesting. That would a local high by mid-January. How high that goes, hard to say. Now, his original prediction back here put that in around 48 to 50K. That would assume that there's not going to be that much money coming in from a Bitcoin ETF in the first week or two, that the rumors we're hearing might be overblown. Now, maybe Josh is just off a bit here. Maybe it goes up to 60K and then the correction comes. So again, we're seeing a lot of people talking about this. Now, I would keep in mind that I don't think we're going to see any kind of major correction for Bitcoin before or immediately after an approval happens. Once they start trading, that's when you historically have got corrections happen. That's when you see a sell the news. And I don't think this is going to be like a crazy sell the news, not the end of the market cycle. We're going to go down another 70% from here and it's all over and the global economy is going to implode and all that stuff. Hopefully not, right? But that's an interesting prediction as well. And of course, as he points out here, as Josh points out here, we'll get that correction post Bitcoin ETF. Prices come back down mid-30s in his projections, a bit different from Arthur's projections. And then, of course, we have Bitcoin halving starting to heat up, all that drama and excitement starting to heat up, prices pushing to new highs, maybe 80, 90K by the end of 2024. I mean, again, what's your time frame like? I know how it is. A lot of people are out here. If I can't get rich today, I'm not interested. Man, sometimes crypto feels like some of the easiest markets out there. every few years you get this opportunity to just basically buy everything and wait and sell it at higher prices. It's crazy. And of course, long term, if you buy in those low moments, and we're still relatively low compared to where all this stuff's going to go. But if you buy in those lower moments, you buy on red days when it makes your stomach sick to even think about buying. Those are usually the best days to buy. If you buy on those days, you're probably going to do okay in the long run. Yeah. Okay. So that's some of those theories. Let me know what you think about those theories, of course, if we're going to see a big dump like that happening. Here is an interesting one from CC15 Capital, citing a Bank of America report. So $93 million in inflows into Bitcoin will move the price up by 1%. So for approximately every $1 billion of ETF inflows, we see a 10% gain. Now, if the BlackRock stuff's to be believed, remember we have that rumor going around, BlackRock's got $2 billion lined up for week one. Well, that's only a 20% price gain. Now, that's just from the spot buying. The hype can push it a bit higher as retail and stuff come and join and people start going a bit crazy just based off of the speculation of that. If we see the rest of the ETF providers bring $1 billion, or maybe they'll max up and hit $2 billion as well. So we have $4 billion. Okay, 40% price gain. 40% price gain. Now, where does that put us again? That puts us up around 60K. Likely, according to these numbers, we would need $6 billion of new inflows in order to see Bitcoin reach previous all-time high. Interesting. Here's an interesting one for you, too. US-based ETF assets surpassed $8 trillion at the end of the year, worth $8 trillion. So if just 1% comes into Bitcoin, that's $80 billion. Now, $80 billion, that's a lot of cheddar, guys. That's a lot of cheddar because remember, 1 billion moves the price 10%. 10 billion moves the price 100%. 80 billion will move the price 800%. Approximately. It's hard to predict exactly these numbers because so many dynamics start changing. Yeah, we have 2 million Bitcoins sitting on exchanges right now, but as prices go higher, it is going to tempt some of that Bitcoin that's sitting on chain right now to come back in. And I know there's a lot of people who are just like exiting fiat and they're never going back. There's a lot of people who are just self-custodying their coins because they don't trust exchanges. And when the price of Bitcoin gets up to $250,000 or something like that, they're going to sell. So they have new inflows to exchanges. And so the dynamics get a bit messy the further out you try to move this. Still, though, if we do get tens of billions, get ready because it'll be crazy. Now, Galaxy Digital, they were predicting, I think it was like 34 billion in the next 3 years, just from the Bitcoin ETFs. I have to make that very clear. Just from the Bitcoin ETFs, nothing else. We're not talking about all the big banks. We're not talking about the new exchanges launching in the Middle East. We're not talking about the Hong Kong Bitcoin ETF, which hasn't even launched yet. Just US spot ETFs, like 32, 34 billion in the next 3 years. That would indicate a potential price pump just from the Bitcoin ETF products trading on US markets of around 300 to 400% in the next 3 years. Make of that information what you will. A counter thought here from Melton Demirs. She says, I don't think this is a sell the news event because Bitcoin is in limited supply. She said $2.2 billion flowed into crypto exchange traded products, primarily through Bitcoin last year, and it's not stopping. So we are seeing an increase of money coming in here, okay? And that's not going to stop. Again, short-term noise is short-term noise, guys, okay? So keep that in mind. All right, now we're going to switch over to talking about altcoins here. Real quick note, though, before we do that, if you guys haven't bridged over any ETH to Manta Network yet, well, the airdrop is still live. So they have announced the initial snapshot for their early airdrop participation, which is something we covered back in the Wealth Master newsletter last year, by the way. Anyway, but so that's snapshot's already done, but the new paradigm event, which is what we're talking about here, that is where you can bridge ETH over to the Manta network. That's still going. Obviously, guys, it's a new network. There's always risks in sending ETH and stuff like that across these new networks. I've personally sent 50 ETH over, but for me, that's an acceptable risk. I'm not saying what you guys, of course, should do, but if you do want to do this, if you do want to get into the Manta network, then there's a link down below. You will need an invite code in order to sign up. You can use that invite code to get your account started over on Manta and bridge some ETH across and get yourself in line for that airdrop. Snapshot's coming pretty soon for this one, but it hasn't been done yet, so there is still opportunity to farm a bit of that drop before it happens. Okay, so there's that. Thank you very much. So here's some interesting thoughts on altcoins. Josh here says, funny to see Bitcoin suck liquidity out of altcoins right before spot ETF decision. He said, here's my thoughts. Bitcoin ETF trades coming to an end. Bitcoin soared over 85% in only 6 months. He said, might be 48, 50K local top. That kind of falls in line with what Josh Rager is saying. Smart money will likely look to sell out their ETF positions into the approval buy pressure, causing Bitcoin's first major correction over 115 days. Bitcoin has not seen a 20 to 30% correction in a long time, and they come all the time for Bitcoin. So the BTC narrative should then immediately shift over to the Bitcoin halving. So basically, we're seeing a big liquidity suck right now from Bitcoin as people are chasing this particular narrative. And we're seeing a lot of charts facing big corrections. Solana, our favorite new paradigm of money coin, down 30% since the 25th of December. Now, that's not saying, oh, Solana's a bad coin that's going to zero. Obviously not. We're just saying a big correction is in play right now for these coins. How low can these corrections go? A lot of it depends on, of course, the coins that you're holding. Lower cap altcoins tend to be much more volatile. If Bitcoin goes down 20%, lower cap altcoins might go down 60%. Mid caps might go down 40 or 50%. Now, we could see, for example, a major area of support here for Solana is at the 40% correction zone down here around $75, maybe even come down to the lower end of that range around 70, which would be a 45% correction. Now, we might see everything pump if we get the Bitcoin ETF approved on Wednesday. Everything just pumps again. Everything goes crazy. Or we continue to see a liquidity suck as people dump altcoins to chase Bitcoin, which happens. So this is something to keep in mind. Look, let's all keep this in perspective here, guys, please, because look, here's Solana. Here's Solana. Okay, so let's go back to a few months ago. Look, we got down, let's say here, September, right? So this is 4 months ago, basically. From that point on, Solana is up 600% without any really major pullbacks along the way. A 30, 40, 50% correction is what happens in crypto after major runs like this. And it puts in a new higher low. Markets continue. We see that MACD still in a strong downtrend here for Solana as well. Something to keep in mind. Here's an interesting one for you. Ethereum supply crisis continues to worsen. 34% of all ETH in circulation is now locked in smart contracts. It's pretty crazy, man. That's a lot of ETH. A lot of ETH. Damn. And of course, we have all the stuff happening at layer 2 and a lot of demand for ETH. Now, ETH, to be clear, using ETH layer 1 kind of sucks. And I got a big bag of ETH, guys, okay? Okay, let's be clear here. But it does. And there's not really any plans to make ETH layer 1 dramatically better anytime soon, unfortunately. So for all of us ETH layer 1 users who still have something to do, it's really just a game for whales at this point, or people who can simply afford to use it. And that's not great. You're going to see, I think, a lot of new users not flock to Ethereum. They're going to flock to everything else. They're going to go to Polygon. They're going to go to Solana because they're cheap to use, man. It's a big difference paying 1 cent for a fee or $20 for a fee, which is more than a lot of people make per hour, more than some people in the world make in a day. It's ridiculous. You're ridiculous, ETH. What is this? But that's not to say ETH doesn't have its catalysts. We see huge supply shocks like this happening. We see increased demand for Ethereum at layer 2, where it's actually cheap to use your Ethereum. And of course, we have the Ethereum spot ETF coming, which should not be faded as an event. It will be pretty big, and it will be big liquidity injection for Ethereum markets. So keep that in mind. Probably come, my guess, within like 3 to 6 months after Bitcoin spot ETFs are approved. Okay, here's an interesting stat for you as well. Polygon proof of stake has reflipped Solana and daily active addresses. Don't count out Polygon. That's one thing I've learned in crypto. Don't count out Polygon. These guys are builders, man. They show up, they put in the work, and slow and steady wins the race here. Of course, there's huge competition going on between all these big blockchains trying to capture users, trying to have the most attractive products and find the biggest partnerships and all this kind of stuff. It's a very, very competitive game out there. Eric Cryptoman saying that somebody's bought $30 million worth of Rose, which is pretty interesting. Remember, that could be Grayscale getting ready to release a Rose investment trust. But man, my Rose bags, I'm ready. Got a giant bag of Rose, Oasis Rose, very interesting layer 1 blockchain. If you haven't looked into it, got a big bag of Rose, waiting for the prices to go higher. Apparently somebody else is bullish on it. That's awesome. I dig it. Now, by the way, quick note, my full portfolio and risk disclosures for investing in cryptocurrency more broadly, you'll find a description for that always down below in the description of these videos. So you know any conflicts of interest I have, as well as what I have in my portfolio. If you're ever interested to take a look, you can look down there. Okay, so I love it. Big Rose buys. People are starting to wake up to Rose. I feel like, which is why I bought a truckload of it during the bear market. I feel like it's one of those ones that could be a real breakout during this market cycle. We'll see how it goes. Bags are packed. Injective, a breakout star already, which is up like 30x in the last 12 months, something like that. It's insane. Well, they've passed there's a vote going on, probably passed already, for the Volan upgrade, which is going to bring all kinds of new functionality and new features to Injective, making Injective even more of an appealing place for people to go and start doing things. So this is great. IBC cross-chain expansion. So it's part of the Cosmos ecosystem. So it's going to have more cross-chain compatibility with the Cosmos ecosystem. Of course, they're already connected up with Solana and Ethereum, I do believe. More burning. We love burning, of course, for our coins, sends everybody else's coins up in value when more coins are burned. So all this stuff's fantastic. This is all being mentioned here because while the prices of altcoins face a major correction, it's worth noting where we are in the cycle, where the cycle is probably going to go, where these things are going to be in 4, 5, 6 years, let alone over the next 2 years as we see a major market rally happen for an inevitable big correction, all that kind of stuff, right? But the builders are building. Stuff is still happening big time out there in crypto land. These blockchains are all getting better. We have more games coming all the time, more DeFi protocols being built, all this kind of stuff. Don't fade crypto, guys. Hey, by the way, real quick note before we dive into the question section of today's segment. If you're not signed up to the Wealth Master newsletter yet, you got to get it checked out. I know I mention it all the time. It's because it's the best damn newsletter in crypto, guys. Seriously. Start getting this bad boy into your inbox. It is jam-packed full of alpha. Every single issue. Altcoin alpha, the latest on NFTs, the latest on DeFi, the latest news, because it is a newsletter. We have tutorials, deep dive reports, and much, much more. Sign up for free to join our over 100,000 weekly readers using the link down below in the description. Thank you. Okay, let's open up the floor to a Q&A session. What do you guys want to talk about today? I'm always very interested to see your questions. Rick C. ETH isn't going anywhere, but it's going slower than some others. Yeah, I think it's the fees, man. It's the fees that are keeping ETH from really exploding. It's the big blockchain. It's like ETH, man. When you understand that basically every blockchain out there, except for only a couple of them, wants to be Ethereum virtual machine compatible, you understand how powerful ETH is. But ETH has kind of dropped the ball. Not great. Not great by any means. Hey, I've seen a question about the Bravo Numeric says, I couldn't get your Manta invite to work. Any suggestions? Yes, let me just have a real quick look here for you. And I can tell you what the exact invite code is for that. That's probably the best way to do it here for you. I know some people have been having that problem with the invite link here for Manta. So if that is you, you can enter this code and it will put you to be eligible for that airdrop through the invite link. So the code is capital Z, capital W, capital P, capital K, capital U. So you enter that code and that will get you in. Okay. Right, where are we up to? More questions. What do we got? Thoughts on Cadena rebranding, says Andy. I have no idea. Did not know Cadena was rebranding. Haven't thought about Cadena in a while. I know it's really hard, by the way, to keep up to date with so many damn blockchains out there in the crypto space. Last time I talked about Cadena was like, we did a deep dive report on it. So Jesse did that deep dive report, not me, but he did the deep dive report on it for the newsletter. I think that was late 2022. And we shared a few news updates and stuff since then, but I have not kept up to date with what's going on. So I have no idea about the rebranding process. Ian says, what is going on with Link? Do you think it'll hit $100 this year? Link's success depends on the success of the broader crypto markets this year. I think it's a great investment. That's why I've got a giant bag personally. Not financial advice telling you what to do with your money, obviously. But I've got a big bag, and whether it hits $100 this year or not is not such a concern. I'm more thinking about the cycle. So where do we top at for the cycle? Now, is that the end of this year? Or is that when we start seeing the indicators flashing, holy crap, market's overheated, time to get out? Maybe. But likely, it's probably going to be sometime in 2025, mid-2025, maybe even as late as, October, December 2025. We'll see how things play out, of course. But $100 this year, I don't know. $100 cycle peak, probably more. I'm hoping for $140 at the cycle peak. At least that's where I'd like to sell at. Will it go higher than that? Maybe. Will it not go that high? Possible also, which is why, again, I'm watching for the indicators in the market versus getting wedded to a particular price number. I know it's fun. Oh, believe me. I know it's fun to think about, well, what happens if my crypto hits this number? But it's good not to get wedded to particular numbers because that can lead you down a troublesome road, my friend. Okay. Canada, do you think Link's going to 20x like ETH? Like I said, I think, for my entry at $7, I think it'll 20x. 20x from here, I don't know. It's at $14 now, so that'd be $300 ETH. I'm not so sure about that. I think $140 is possible, but hey, we'll see. Where do you see Polygon in 2 years? Probably higher in price and probably much, much higher in adoption. Long answer short. Where in price? I don't know. But yeah, they're builders, man. The Polygon team are builders. I've known them for a while. I've watched their progress for a while, and they're one of the blockchains that continues to impress, without a doubt. Because you see a lot of promises. Oh, a lot of promises from a lot of blockchains over time, haven't we? But actually being able to deliver, that's something different. And they are a team that has consistently delivered. So. Let me see here. Lots of questions, lots of the same questions. Polygon, Link, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Looking for a good one here. Lots of Polygon. Stop spamming the Polygon questions, guys. Holy cow. All right. Where are we up to? Thoughts on Kusama this year? I've always been more of more convinced on the main asset versus Kusama. But look, if DOT has a great rally around the Polkadot 2.0 hype, Kusama's probably going to have a good rally around that too. That would be my guess. But yeah, I don't think too much about Kusama. I've got a Polkadot bag, but not a Kusama bag. Maybe it should be the other way around. Kusama's probably gonna have bigger gains in that particular scenario. Nick Weaver, oh, that's a good question. I like this one. Have you seen an uptrend on your YouTube views, social media follows, etc.? It's a good indicator the herd is returning to the market. What are your thoughts? Yeah, we've definitely seen an uptick on video views. Video views are almost double what they were 6 months ago. Subscribers are definitely increasing. And look, my channel is not the biggest YouTube channel for crypto by any means. Other channels I'm seeing also putting in some good growth metrics, getting good views on their videos. So people are here, but we haven't seen. I still think we're in that moment with the herd, the retail herd, where all of us survivors, we've been hanging out around the water hole the entire bear market, having a sip. And now we're starting to see a situation where, a few different, wildebeests and gazelles and elephants and stuff are starting to show up, some guys some elephants wearing suits are showing up, the BlackRock crowd and all that. And some retail investors are starting to get a little more interested. So they're kind of showing back up, but it's not yet like mania at the watering hole. We're a long way away from that, but it's the trickles. The trickles are starting, but we're not going crazy yet. Uminam3, have you been watching new Solana meme coins? No, I have not. I have not been watching new Solana meme coins. Look, it's tough. I'm in like some Telegram groups where people are just like, it's always like a new meme coin every single day. And it's like, guys, the vast majority of these things went down like 99% within 2 weeks of you guys posting about them. Like, what are you doing? There's so many good things out there you spend your money on instead of trying to chase the promise of the next big meme coin. It's tough. I get it. People want to chase meme coins and have the big gains come in. And there's some meme coins that I probably should have invested in because I saw all that. So it seems like a narrative that people can hop on. But yeah, I don't spend too much time thinking about meme coins, but I'm not opposed to meme coins. I like meme coins. I might even buy one in the future. Okay. Ooh, Buckstown X. After cashing out, what's the best place to move to your USDC to? What rate range is expected during the bull market period? Look, here, I've thought about this question personally. What to do with my money when I cash out near bull market peaks? And I might take profits in stages. Well, I will take some profits in stages, right? As I see certain coins just get a bit too crazy, I'm going to cut some money off those, sure. But let's talk about the big cash out when you think, okay, things are pretty crazy. It's time to really start winding down your positions. And by that time, I will have already probably sold half a dozen times. But when that happens, okay, got a giant pile of stable coins sitting there. What to do? I personally, after the last bear market and all the pain and suffering, I personally am probably going to take a very large chunk of that and just take it completely out of the markets, put it into maybe some real estate, put it into a bunch of dividend stocks, stuff like this. Leave just a bunch in cash because if the crypto market's going down, the other market's probably going down too, and save it in cash to buy some sweet tech stocks and stuff when they totally bottom out. And then I will keep a good portion sitting in stable coins. But I won't be putting them in basically anywhere. I won't leave them sitting on exchanges because exchanges get hacked and you lose all your money. I'm not going to put them in DeFi because DeFi gets hacked, you lose all your money. I'm going to wait. I'll just take my USDC and put it in my hardware wallet and just ignore it for a while. Wait for all the pain and suffering and panic and destruction and explosions to happen. And then re-enter the market when everybody says crypto's going to zero again and it's over. It's over. That's my thoughts anyway. Fahad, what happened to Power Ledger? I was actually randomly looking at Power Ledger yesterday. And Power Ledger's still there, man. They're still doing stuff. But yeah, they're down bad today. Oh, that was crazy. There was a big pump yesterday, and then they're down 50% today. I have no idea. I really have no idea what's happening to Power Ledger. I have not looked at them in a long, long time. Now, I loved the idea of Power Ledger back in the day, but man, they've twisted and turned, and I don't know what they're doing today. I really, really don't. But that's big. That's big. When down 50% a day is brutal, man. I guess there was a pump of some variety yesterday, getting people ready for an exit liquidity event. Don't know. Haven't been watching it very closely, so I can't tell you. Maybe there was some partnership rumored that didn't turn out. I don't know. Yeah. All right. James asks, what tax software do you currently use? CoinLedger is my recommended partner. You'll find a link for that in the description. So we're going to be doing some work together with them on a sponsorship basis as well. I'm just an affiliate, but we will be doing some sponsorship stuff, doing some videos, explainers for the CoinLedger software coming up. So check that out if you're looking for a pretty simple and relatively price-effective way to take care of your crypto taxes. Okay, where are we up to next? Price prediction stuff on some random coins. Looks like my Cardano decided to take the scenic route down. But hey, even rockets need a pit stop before reaching to the moon. Time to grab the telescope and watch. What do you think? You know, Cardano, I have just not been paying a lot of attention to the Cardano ecosystem recently. There's so much else going on. I haven't had the time to casually observe Cardano and what they've been doing. I've been too focused on sort of the Ethereum ecosystem in the sense of all the layer 2 stuff going on there, Arbitrum, etc. I've been back farming on Solana and so on and so forth. So I don't know what's going on in Cardano these days, man. But one thing I would say is that Cardano is probably not one to fade, but I definitely think right now that Cardano's got a lot of stepping up to the plate to do, because we see how hungry all the competition is. You have networks like, Say Network coming in that people getting really excited about. We have all these Ethereum layer 2s that are capturing huge amounts of users, huge amounts of liquidity. So Cardano's got to really capitalize on this bull run to get people using their chain in a big way. Okay. Lazaro says, are you bullish on Arweave? Is it a good hold? No grand opinion on Arweave. I interviewed the guys from Arweave way back in the day. We've covered their news and stuff a bit from time to time because, they're a bigger player in the market. But man, I don't have an opinion on them. I'm not invested. Don't know what they're up to these days, but I hope they're doing well. Three-time premiership hero. You've changed your looks so much in the Star Watch. Yeah. Yeah. I used to have longer hair, the goatee, man, mustache. It's crazy times. Hippie Lark, man. Hippie Lark, just a dude aping into crypto coins back in the day, making videos. It's crazy. It's good times. Bit Capric, thank you for keeping me informed since 2017. Thank you. Thanks for watching, man. You guys are awesome, by the way. I love coming out, getting to talk to you guys. It's always a great time. It's always a good time. Mustache Lark. Those are good times. Andy says, we're the crocodiles at the water hole. Oh, yes. Yeah, when the herd comes back, man, it's the unfortunate reality of how markets work. Because if you're here now, if you've been here for the last year, if you've been accumulating positions, guess what? You're the guy who is going to use the herd as exit liquidity. It's just how markets work, man. It's a player versus player environment. And here's the thing, nothing that we can say or do is going to stop people from making reckless financial decisions when the markets are absolutely pumping like crazy. People get into a mania state. People go crazy, and they're going to be buying all kinds of crazy stuff for a few weeks until the money's all spent, and then it all just starts crashing down. Most people in the markets buy high and sell low. And if you cannot do that, if you can buy low and sell high, then you're going to be winning. So be contrarian, be the crocodile if you need to be at the watering hole, right? Don't be the last wildebeest to show up to the watering hole. That's not what you want. All right, let's catch up a little bit here. Getting behind again. How often do I do live YouTubes? I'm trying to do it 3 times per week right now. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which is Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday nights for you guys East Coast or in the UK, late evening your time. So yeah, try and do 3 times a week. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes I take off and don't do it, but generally try and do 3 times a week. Just cover the news. Mainly talk to you guys. Talk to you guys. See what you guys have in your minds. What you guys want to talk about. It's always a good time. Fart coin. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, guys. What kind of degeneracy are we getting into here? Max says, have you looked at the index cooperative? I have not. Sorry, man. I have not. So many coins out there. So many coins out there. Hard to keep up with what's going on. UK government is going after people's side hustles. If you sell secondhand clothes on eBay, they want some of your money. Well, of course they do. Of course they do. You know, they got that funny thing on the IRS tax forms. Like, have you sold any like illegal substances this year, or have you stolen anything and sold it for cash? Like, if so, you have to report that for tax income. Like, I wonder how many people they catch every year. The guy is like, oh, I did sell like $100,000 worth of cocaine this year. I better write that down so the tax man can get his cut. Taxes. This makes me want to move to Dubai. Anyway, Breaking the Cycle says, I know this is a bit random, but what is the key amount of videos to upload on YouTube to increase subscription and appreciate your knowledge? You know, one of these days I need to get, it's been like on my back burner of things to do, is to actually launch a sort of like an entrepreneur channel talking about, you know, make money on YouTube, how to create social channels, so on and so forth. Now, look, to answer that question, it depends. You can upload 1 video per week. And if it's the right video with the right title and the right thumbnail, packaging is very important. Got a good title, got a good thumbnail. If you get that, then you might only need 1 video per week. Depends what you're doing, what niche you're in as well. Look, because I'm in financial markets, I upload a truckload of content. Sometimes I feel like it's too much. Sometimes I feel like it's not enough. But there's so much going on all the time. There's so much to talk about, so much I want to talk about all the time, that I upload a lot of content. But you don't need to do that. And it's not even necessarily the best thing to do. I'm just like semi-addicted to making videos. So it's what I do. But you could easily, let's say 2 or 3 videos per week. In fact, we're planning a new channel. Actually planning 2 new channels at the moment. One is for tech stocks. And our plan for that is going to be 14 shorts and 2 long form videos per week. And we're actually going to be doing a travel channel, which is something totally unrelated to crypto, just for fun, because it's a big passion of mine. We're planning a travel channel some point Q1, maybe Q2. And that'll be like 2 or 3 long form videos a week, along with like probably 7 to 14 shorts per week. So do with that information what you will. Anyway, where are we up to next? Okay. 2 or 3 more questions, guys, here, and then we'll finish up for today, okay? Nick, any news on Tesla accepting Bitcoin again? Nah, Elon hasn't said anything, man. Elon hasn't said anything. Cassian, wait, what coin was the biggest disappointment? Oh, there's been so many. There's been so many disappointments. It's not even funny. The biggest one, I have no idea. Gosh, there's been coin. I'm telling you, look, there's been all kinds of crazy that's happened. And there's been coins that, like, I do a lot of private market investing. So there's been coins that literally never even launch. You give them money and they're just gone. Goodbye. There's coins that launch and they never do anything. They're just cash grabs, and that's terrible. It sucks for everybody. Probably, let me think. It's tough because there's ones that have been disappointing, but I made money on, like EOS. EOS was supposed to be the new paradigm of money, and I made a lot of money on EOS. I think we bought it at like 50 cents back in 2017. We sold it like $20. Man, it was a great coin for making cash on. And then it just kind of sucked after that. A lot of coins ended up being like that. So my crypto market journey is riddled with disappointments. Coins that just ended up being disappointing in themselves. Coins that I bought at the wrong time. Dumb stuff that I've bought. Some NFTs and stuff. And even though I bought the NFTs just for fun, not as like investments per se, still. Yeah. You get ready. If you're in crypto for a few years, expect to have a lot of disappointments under your belt, because it's going to happen. But the thing is, for all your screw ups, for all your disappointments that happen, for all the mistakes that you're going to make, the times that you do get it right will more than make up for all that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind. Do, 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 do. David Middleton, how do we get that dot meme coin? So yes, there's the meme coin called Dead, DED, launching on dot soon. I don't know if they've done that. I guess they haven't probably done a snapshot yet, but you should have your dot in a wallet like the Polka wallet or Polka.js or whatever. And you will, I think, just by having it in your wallet, you're going to get the drop. So, or I mean, you might have to be staked. I'm not exactly sure. I got to look into that. That was my thing to do for this week. Okay. Thanks for the super chat, Sushant. Okay. The last one here for today. Let's try and find a good one. Oh, here we go. This is a good question. I like this one. It's a good one to finish up on. GM Canberra, do you think that the people who jump into the ETF are going to abandon it in the next bear market? A lot of them probably. Now, to be clear, we're going to see crazy cash inflows happening where people buying now, when as soon as the ETF lists, they might be 200 or 300% in profit bottom of the next bear market. They may not need to sell. They'll just hold on to it. 10 years, they're going, I was going to go to $1 million. So wait till it gets to $1 million. Okay, great. There's also going to be Bitcoin locked up in broader funds. So you're going to have like a crypto fund, or you're going to have, I don't know, some kind of commodity funds, for example, that have 5% Bitcoin allocation, and they're not going to sell because it's just part of the fund. So you're going to have stuff like that. You're going to have like the ARK Invest Innovation ETF. They're probably going to have a bunch of spot Bitcoin sitting in there. So different things like this is going to reduce that downward momentum when the time comes. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, definitely a lot of people are going to come in, unfortunately, do as they always do. The Bitcoin ETF just means that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be able to come in and buy Bitcoin when it's worth $250,000, and the media is telling them that's the new paradigm of money, and they're going to buy it at $250,000, and they're going to dump it at 150K. They're going to dump it at 100K. That's how it works. Good question, though. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching the stream. You guys are freaking awesome, and I will see you in the next stream.